Hey friends, I am coming at you today with what may be the most important poi tip I ever give you in your spinning journey. Slow down. Drex here from DrexFactor.com, bringing you the love of poi spinning and flow arts to benefit your body and brain. And today we are talking about the virtues of taking it slow. Before we dive in, I just want to give a quick shout out to the friends of the channel. Big thanks to Dark Monk, Flow Toys, Pyroterra Light Toys, LMF Props, Spinballs, and Ultrapoi for helping to make the videos on this channel possible. You can learn more about all these amazing companies and the work that they're doing to support flow artists like yourself by checking out the links that I've got down in the description of this video. So this may actually be the most frequent piece of advice I give to people who are reaching out to me for feedback. And 9 times out of 10, it is not the feedback that they are expecting to receive. And I mean, I totally get why that is, you know? It's one of those things that when you first start spinning, it feels like the poi sometimes have a mind of their own. And in trying to make them do the thing that you want them to do, a lot of times it feels like we can push them in by making them go faster or holding them just a little bit tighter. And the problem is that this is really counterproductive. And sometimes it takes us a while to work through it to see why. And it should be said, I did this too. It was something that when I first moved to the East Coast, people immediately commented on how fast I was spinning. And quite frankly, it was something that was sometimes a little bit dangerous for the people around me. And you know what else? It kind of made my spinning look a little bit sloppy. So it's one of those things that training yourself out of the habit of spinning fast can be something that has a lot of benefits that you might not necessarily expect. So why does it happen and how do we train ourselves out of it? Let's dive in. So as many of you know, the first poi trick that I usually teach people is a reel turn. And the reason for this being that it teaches you something very fundamental about the way the poi work. That is, they don't move in a way that is intuitive to the human body. Like the human body can really orient itself in any direction in 2D space and it works pretty easily. The poi, on the other hand, in order to conserve their angular momentum, want to stay in a single plane at all times. And that is something that's kind of weird for a body that can easily nudge in different directions, you know? So learning this trick isn't just about learning the basics of how poi planes work and how you can be on either side of a plane, but also that your body is going to have to kind of adjust its perception of what the plane is in order to make it work with the poi. See, as far as our body's concerned, there's a ton of wiggle room in that plane. After all, there's not that big a difference between me facing straight at the camera and then slightly off the camera, right? Whereas when it comes to the poi, that little degree of difference can make a huge, huge difference in terms of any kind of tricks that happen to be operating on that plane. After all, if I have one plane that is straight up in wheel plane here and another plane that's slightly off to the side, that register is clear as day and it becomes something that's kind of distracting to the audience. So to compensate, there's a variety of things that we do. We like to try and force poi into the position that we want it to be in, and that results in two things that are really not helpful for us in the long run. The first is that we kind of tense up our hands and wrists, and the second is that we start spinning way too fast. The tensing up thing is really brutal too, because after many, many hours of practice and everything, you're going to find that your upper body may just be an absolute knot of muscles. And of course, when we speed up, what we think we're doing is we're pushing that poi closer and closer to where we want it to be. And unfortunately, the reverse is usually true. You see, when you spin the poi faster, you actually have a lot less control over it. You have a lot less control over the plane, you have a lot less control over stalls, you have a lot less control over what the poi might hit in the course of its arc. Plus which, if you're trying to do things like sight transitions and the like, the faster the poi is moving, the more difficult it is for you to find them. And we can hold on to this habit for a very, very long time. I think I was probably spinning about 3 or 4 years before I put a concentrated effort into slowing things down. It was only after I encountered the work of Ronan McLaughlin and I saw how beautiful he made the poi look as they spun so slowly that I started trying to work that into my own style. And lo and behold, all of the sudden, all of these things that I had struggled to keep clean and everything, from my flowers to my stalls to my plane changes and everything, virtually overnight shifted. To say nothing of the fact that all kinds of crazy hybrids and transitions that I had kind of theoretically imagined existed all of the sudden now were things that were attainable. It really just like changed the game for me overnight. Now, of course, when we spin fast, it also is sometimes something that's really stimulating for our audience. And of course, for those of us who are nearer to the beginning of our flow journey, spinning really, really fast may be one of our go-to ways to get a reaction out of the audience. And I do want to emphasize that there is nothing wrong with that. But in terms of training, it's going to be way more helpful if you can slow things down when you're not on stage. Okay, so how do we go about doing that? So the first thing I would recommend is actually just taking 2 or 3 tricks that you already know and experiment with the range of them. That is, I'd like you to try out going through them as fast as you can and then slowing them down as much as you can. You're probably going to find that the range between those two is vastly bigger than you think. Especially with flowers and the like, really, really work to take them as slow and deliberate as you possibly can. Another thing that helps with this is focusing on your breathing. Because I can just about guarantee that if you're spinning super duper fast, you're also not breathing as you do it. So try slowly breathing in 1 1000, 2 1000, 3 1000, 4 1000, and breathing out 1 1000, 2 1000, 3 1000, 4 1000. Breathe with that rhythm as you're spinning the poi, and I'm pretty sure you'll see an immediate impact on the speed of your spinning. Another trick I really love to give people in order to slow down their spinning is to have them play with pendulums for a little while. Pendulums are a miraculous tool for forcing you to slow down your spinning. After all, there's only so fast you can go and still keep the poi head underneath your hands. It's probably going to be one of those cases that as you're playing around with all the different timing and direction combinations with your pendulums, you are going to find that there is a comfortable rhythm with it that is much slower than what you're used to. Another thing that can help is if you like to flow out to music, try putting on something that has a slower tempo to it. Think like some Coldplay or some Imagine Dragons or a band that you doesn't think suck, but that tends to work in lower to mid-tempo ranges. And I think that you may find as you spin along to the music and everything, it will help you find a slower and more deliberate pace with what you're doing. And I am willing to bet that in that case, you're going to start being able to see your transitions much easier. You're going to start to feel more control over the tricks that you're doing. You're going to hit yourself less and find you make fewer mistakes as you're spinning. And you're probably going to wind up with an upper body that is a lot less tense overall. So give these tips a trick, see how they work for you, and above all else, give slower spinning a try. I guarantee you will not be disappointed with what you discover through it. Awesome, thank you so much for watching. If you got anything out of this video and you would like to share it with others, please make sure to like, share, comment, and subscribe to allow other people to discover this content. And a huge thank you to my wonderful supporters on Patreon. They make this video and all the videos on this channel possible. If you would like to sign up to support this work that I do, and I totally understand if you don't have the means, but if you do, I would appreciate it. Head on over to patreon.com/DrexFactorPoi and sign up. You can get early access to all of my content as well as a say in what topics I tackle in the future. This very topic was actually something that my supporters voted on, so thank you to all you for contributing to that. Go check that out, please and thank you. Sweet. So please share with me your slower spinning. Perhaps do like a before and after video. Post that to Instagram and make sure to tag DrexFactorPoi so I can go check out your hard work. Thanks so much, and I'll see you again soon. Peace.